do it. Go. Come on, keep going. You're finishing strong. You got this. Come on. I know it's hard. You've been working hard. You got this. Keep going. Keep going. You're almost done. Go, 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 go. Woohoo! Way to go, sprinters! You have officially finished strong, and I am so proud of you. Whew. Wow, I don't know about you, but this was quite the sprint. You know what? We are on day 42. It's finished strong. Power of completion. This is the last day of our 6-week training plan here. It's amazing. Can you believe it? It just seems like we started yesterday or maybe 6 weeks ago. But you're probably wondering, but wait, there's still 3 days. Yes, but these next 3 days are the power of celebration. So we are going to have some fun and celebrate. So right now we are officially ending. We started the race, getting going like this, and now we are ready to end the race and finish strong. So I just wanted to share with you what we've been doing to help you get to this point and what you can keep doing to keep finishing strong for all the other sprints that you will be doing. Okay, so this is all about completion, but you know, ironically, we leave a lot of things incomplete. In fact, when I was getting ready for this, I looked at my desk, and there's this little chip on my desk, and actually it's so cool because it's my father's desk, and he used to own a pharmacy, and this was down in his office, and I would go down in his office a ton of times and see him at his desk or do my schoolwork at his desk. And now it's the desk I own because he's retired. So it's kind of that legacy that he passed on. And there's this little part of it that chipped off, and I always kept the piece. I kept it in my drawer, and I'm not kidding, 4 years, I mean a long time. I just never took the time to glue that little piece on the desk. And finally this year I did. And sometimes it's just completing those little things that can make a huge difference. So you either need to complete the incompletes or delete the incompletes. Jack Canfield, I thought this was awesome. He had this 25 ways to complete before moving forward. He had this list your incompletes and the steps you'll take to complete each area of your life. And he has this whole list of these kinds of things. And I just thought you might be able to relate to some of these. Promises that aren't kept or acknowledged. Some incompletes might be activities, closets overflowing with clothes, disorganized garage, haphazard records, junk drawers full of unusable items, missing or broken tools, attics filled or car trunks, back seats filled with a lot of trash, maintenance left undone, filing left undone, family pictures never put in an album, your desk cluttered, forgiveness, time that you haven't put to things, on and on this list can go. I don't know about you, but just reading that makes me be like, oh my gosh, look at all the other things now I need to complete. But you know what? Today we are focusing on you finishing strong and completing your number one goal. That's huge, right? There's a list, of course, of all these incompletes. And you know what? You intentionally had to incomplete things to complete this. And that was the whole point of this number one sprint, focusing on your number one thing. Because what happens most of the time, we focus on trying to complete too many things that nothing then gets incomplete, and we just keep adding to that. And I was super excited when Todd Herman had this grid that he talks about, and he has a program called the 90-day year program, or the 90-year program, where it's really 90 days. How can you complete as much as you did in 1 year that you can do in 90 days? And he has this idea of sprints, which, you know, sounds like a great idea to me, huh? And he said that what happens is that we diversify our attention. Okay, so he just used a 2-week grid, and I'm just gonna use this as an example to kind of amplify what he talked about. So he said you'll start out with your number one goal. We're just gonna, you know what, for purposes of this, we're gonna call it 1. Okay? And then you might spend another day at your number one goal, but then you realize, you think of that incomplete, and you thought of, oh, you haven't done number 2, your third goal, oh, number 3 needs some attention, number 3 needs a little bit more. Yeah, and as you were working on that third goal, it made you think of the 4th thing you haven't done. And then you go on to the 5th. I'm running out of colors, so you'll just have to. And then that leads to number 7, number 8. Oh, wait. 7, 8. You go back to 1. Then you think of number 9. That leads you to 10. And then you're back at number 2. Okay? So as you can see this list of crazy numbers. And what he gave the analogy is, he said, say one goal is like 4 time blocks, okay? So you would need 4 of one number here to actually complete something in 2 weeks. So let's see if we did. We have 1, 2, we have 3 1s, 2 3s, 2 2s, a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. So basically what would happen at the end of the 2 weeks, nothing was done. So let's look at the other approach, that what we've been doing, okay? Now, for this, you can just multiply this by 45 days because we've been working on a big goal, 1 and done, an hour a day. And so what we've been doing here is we have been taking your number one goal, and we'll just use your number one goal, your number one goal, your number one goal, your number one goal, your number one goal. And then what really happens with this number one goal, right, is we have different projects within it. So this might be 1 point, we'll just say 1A, maybe now I gotta work on 1B, 1B, 1C, 1C, B, I gotta go back to D. But the point is, it's still all just your number one goal. And then you are done. And it makes such a big difference and you are more productive. And I got to tell you, actually, when I was the original time when I made these videos, there's a ton of other things that were on my plate. And I chose to stick with this and say, finish this first. You will be more productive. Because in fact, every time you switch tasks because of the interruptions, you lose about 20% of your time just to get back into it. So you're not even here getting as much of this done because you're still losing 20% of your time. But when you're completely focused on this, you move forward. And so I had such a mindset on these videos and goals and remembering what I did that it was so fresh. I was able to complete it way quicker and faster than I could on my own. Okay, so your 1 and done is to know this is what you've been doing. So it's been 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 for 45 days. So I am so proud of you. Look what you've chosen to do and look what you have completed instead of this way that we typically work. So continue to your 1 and done, use this forward, okay? And then 2, good for you, is to either complete or delete some of your incompletes when you're done with this, okay? But we're gonna follow through on this, and because what we're gonna move forward on the next 3 days is power of celebration, and that I want you to really embrace and share it and follow through and celebrate what you have done. And then the last thing is the last story that I want to share with you is the gentleman who wrote the book and gave the last lecture. If you recall him, Randy Pausch. And I thought this is such a great way to end about finishing strong because he really exemplified finishing strong. He's no longer with us because actually when he was a professor and when he was hypothetically giving the last lecture, which is something that they do in academic tradition, is to give a last lecture, meaning kind of your best advice. If it was your last lecture, what would be those words of wisdom that you would share? And for him, it no longer was hypothetical, it was real. He was dying of cancer. And so his last lecture took on a whole new meaning because it literally was true and true to his heart. And he did it all for his 3 children. And that's what it was all about. So even though, and there's a picture of him with his 3 children. And you know what? Because in the end, everything that you do should matter to that greater legacy. So not only is today about finishing strong with your goal, but finishing strong with your life. And in fact, there's a Bible verse that talks about, I finished the race, I finished strong. And that's what we want you to do, is those things that matter most to you, like this #1 goal, is to complete it and do it, because we don't know when our last lecture will be called. And will we have a beautiful story to tell? Will we be able to celebrate and have a legacy that lives on? And my hope is that this #1 goal that you've been working on is helping you to that #1 bigger goal of your life well lived. So again, I'm so proud of you for how hard you've been working. And these next 3 days are power of celebration. So I can't wait for you to join me in celebrating you. From my heart to yours, be love.